Anthony Ignatowski was a private in the United States Marine Corps who met with a gruesome fate when he was captured by the Japanese during the Battle of Iwo Jima. He was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on April 8, 1926, into a large family with 9 brothers and sisters. From a young age, Ignatowski had always dreamed of becoming a Marine, and in 1943 he attempted to enlist, but failed the physical examination due to a kidney problem. Though on his second attempt, he would use a friend's urine sample to pass, and was accepted into the Marine Corps. In 1944, after completing boot camp, he was assigned to 2nd Battalion, 28th Marine Regiment, 5th Marine Division, during which time he became close friends with Navy Corpsman John Bradley, who was long believed to be one of the 6 men who raised the US flag on Mount Suribachi in Joe Rosenthal's famous photograph. In early February of 1945, Ignatowski boarded the USS Missoula, bound for the Pacific, arriving at Iwo Jima on the 19th, where he was among one of the first waves that assaulted the island's southern beaches. The following day, he was hit by shrapnel, receiving wounds to his face and jaw, but quickly returned to combat within hours of receiving medical care. Ignatowski next joined his unit in their assault on Mount Suribachi, the volcanic peak that dominated the island's southern end. After 4 days of ferocious combat, the 28th Marines succeeded in capturing the mountain on February 23rd. His regiment next advanced north into the island's central defences, where Japanese troops had previously built an extensive network of caves, tunnels, and bunkers. The fighting quickly devolved into brutal close-quarters combat in broken terrain, with Marines facing ambushes and hidden strongpoints at every step. It was during this phase that Ignatowski became separated from his unit. On March 4, 1945, reports state that he was seen being captured by Japanese soldiers and dragged into a cave. About 2 hours later, the body of 2nd Lieutenant Leonard Sokol was also seen being dragged away in the same location. On March 7th, 3 days after his capture, the bodies of Ignatowski and Sokol were discovered on a road roughly 450 yards north of Hill 362. Ignatowski's body showed obvious signs of mutilation that deeply shocked his fellow Marines, while Sokol's body had also been desecrated, likely by flamethrower. Ignatowski's death was later described in the book Flags of Our Fathers, co-authored by James Bradley, the son of John Bradley, who recalled the following: "I have tried so hard to block this out, to forget it. We could choose a buddy to go in with. My buddy was a guy from Milwaukee. We were pinned down in one area. Someone elsewhere fell injured, and I ran out to help. And when I came back, my buddy was gone. And nobody could figure out where he was. I could see all around, but he wasn't there. A few days later, someone yelled out that they'd found him, and they called me over because I was a corpsman. The Japanese had pulled him underground and tortured him." Another corpsman, who had served alongside Bradley, named Cliff Langley, later said it looked as though Ignatowski had endured just about every variety of physical cruelty imaginable. Both of his arms were fractured, he had been bayoneted repeatedly, and the back of his head had been smashed in. Other reports further indicated that he had been tortured in the cave by the Japanese for 3 days, during which time they also cut out his eyes, cut off his ears, smashed in his teeth, and cut off his genitalia. He was initially buried in the 5th Marine Division Cemetery on Iwo Jima, before his remains were exhumed in 1949, and reinterred at the Rock Island National Cemetery in Illinois. His horrific death serves as one of the most shocking examples of the brutal treatment that was inflicted on captured Americans during the Pacific War, though it was by no means an isolated incident. but rather part of a wider pattern of atrocities committed by Japanese forces that had been reported since the early stages of the conflict. Shocking incidents such as this continued to harden the American attitudes for the remainder of the war, and further fueled the ferocity of subsequent island battles.